I feel like I should preface this video by saying that I know I look a little bit crazy right now. I mean, I don't look crazy, but I look like a lot. So I'm gonna tell you why. Well, actually, you'll find out why on like Saturday, so I'm not gonna tell you why, but just know that I have this going on for a reason. I just look really extra today, so that's fine. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I should try this hard. But I'm back, and I have more Let's Not Meet stories. I was gonna say I have more of your paranormal stories, but I'm actually not doing that right now. I picked out 3 or 4 stories from Let's Not Meet, and I wanna share them with you guys. Why are my neighbors actual elephants whenever I start filming? But I wanted to mention to you guys that I started streaming on Twitch, and I know I mentioned it in a couple videos from last week, but it was kind of more towards the end of the videos. And I've also put it on my community tab here on YouTube, so you guys will be able to see it and come watch the streams whenever I'm live. But I wanted to talk about it for just a second. I promise I won't let this go on for too long. But I wanted to tell you guys that if you like these videos and you like these stories, I'm gonna be streaming sometimes while reading these. Wait, does that make sense? I'm gonna have some streams during the week where I read your guys' stories, like your paranormal stories, and then where I read Reddit stories as well. I read a fanfic in yesterday's stream, and that was really fun. Like, I just have a bunch of different things that I want to be able to do. Most of my streams are going to be gaming because that was kind of why I started it. I just like to play random video games, and I just wanted you guys to be able to watch and hang out with me while I do it and ask me questions and that kind of stuff. But it is going way better than I ever could have expected, you guys. I'm having so much fun with it. So I will have my Twitch channel linked down below so you guys can go follow me. And then I will also be posting like on Twitter and on my community tab when I'm actually going live. Typically it's 5 to 10 CST every single day. But there are some days where I'll go earlier, some days where like maybe I won't go as long, so we'll start later, but that we don't have to get into that. But today's stream, for example, I'm going to be reading scary stories like your guys' paranormal stories. So I just wanted to let you guys know. Well, I mean, today's stream is in when I'm filming this, not when you're seeing this, but you know what I mean. So if you guys want more of me, you can have me every day if you want me. That sounds really bad. But you can have me every single day. You can never get enough of me now. I'm here to stay. I'm permanent. You're stuck with me in your lives forever. Holy shit. I need water. I'm really thirsty. I've already had a Diet Coke today, and I'm trying not to drink as much, and I only have 1 left, so yeah. But okay, let's get started. Okay, I wanted to start out with a shorter story. I thought this one just sounded interesting. It has a very basic title, but we're gonna start with this bad boy. So the first one's called The Strangest Encounter of My Life. And again, I will have the Reddit user just up here somewhere, and then I will also have everyone linked down below, as well as the stories, so if you guys want to go check them out, go do that. It was October 31st, 2017 at midnight. It was raining, and I was sat on my couch watching YouTube on the TV. My dog, the wonderful furball that he is, began to whine as he needed to go outside. Frustrated, I sighed, got up, threw on my flip-flops, and grabbed an umbrella. As I opened the door onto my porch, I immediately became aware that I was hearing something odd. It was a steady tone, slightly muffled by the fact that none of the windows were open, and it immediately made me uneasy. I stepped out onto my porch and the noise became louder. It was then that I realized I was hearing whistling. I went from uneasy to confused. I tried to peer around into the inky darkness around me, but had no luck as I saw nothing. So I reached into the house and flicked on the porch light, and that's when I saw him. Clad in a marionette costume and a face painted to look like a puppet, he stood on the corner of my yard and whistled. I'm already over this. I'm already over this video. Oh, I kind of want to look up a marionette so you guys can see what this looks like. Like, imagine seeing this and your front yard whistling at you. I'm not into it. I'm also really upset because I have to read these right now, and then I'm also streaming this later. So I'm just going to be even more terrified. That's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. I also want to do horror games, and I'm probably gonna play a horror game tonight, so we're really gonna fuck ourselves over, huh? The confusion turned to annoyance as I realized this guy must have been trying to mess with me as a Halloween prank. I completely forgot this was Halloween. That makes more sense. So I walked to the big glass door on my porch, opened it, and with all the class I had been raised with, simply asked, "Dude, what's wrong with you?" The whistling stopped immediately, and he slowly turned his head to look directly at me. He gave a hollow laugh before turning on his heels and stiffly walking away with almost soldier-like movement. I shrugged, then turned to handle my dog when I realized that my normally aggressive dog was now hidden underneath a table, whining, having wet himself. The next school day I heard whispers in the hallway of him, conversations during class. Apparently I hadn't been the only one to see this guy, and apparently he was quite the mover as he was seen all over the town around midnight specifically. Now that's fucking weird. Can I explain what happened that night? Not specifically, I can't really be sure of it. But what I can say is that it was certainly one of the oddest situations that has ever happened to me. How can you explain him being around the entire town at midnight? Try to riddle me that, audience. Okay, and then I thought this one sounded really interesting. This one's called I Was Kidnapped When I Was 4. This one's also really short, but I have 2 long ones, don't you worry. I don't remember much. My memory is slightly hazy, but I have pieced together what I can from the information I received from my sister, we're twins, and my parents. I remember waking up in a car with my sister beside me, and my mom at the front, and someone I didn't recognize in the front. I wasn't sure what was happening, but I fell asleep again and woke up in a house. I was sitting on this orange wooden chair, and so was my sister beside me. The guy was holding a knife right next to my mom's eye, and she was crying. Oh my god, 0 to 100. He stopped eventually, and the rest of the day was a blur. I remember at night he made us sleep on laundry clothes on the floor, The next day my mom ended up in a hospital. I'm still not sure why, as my parents don't talk about this time at all and actually deny that it ever happened now. My dad came to the hospital eventually and the police were involved. I know this really happened because my sister also remembers, and my parents always say they would tell me when I'm older, but I'm 17 now and they're still denying that it ever happened. I really want to know what the fuck happened to you. I know this is like the least detailed story ever and you guys are probably gonna be mad that I read this, but I'm upset that I read this and I don't get more information, so I'm gonna make you guys upset too. But if you're watching this by chance, Golday, please figure out what the fuck happened, because we all need to know. We all need to know. This one also sounded really interesting to me. This one's called Attempted Murder Prank Call. And as the queen of prank calling from my younger days, I thought this sounded really interesting, except I don't really know what to expect, and that slightly terrifies me. Hello again. As a fan of reading other people's close encounters with danger and other unique situations, I finally decided to share some of my own. I don't know if it's a good thing, but I have a handful of scary encounters, certainly more than the average person. Also, goodbye, sun. See you later, fucker. I'm kind of losing my voice right now, so sorry if I sound kind of raspy or kind of weird. Like I said, I've been streaming for like 5 hours every single day. I'm not really sure what to expect anymore with my voice. She's gonna leave me soon. This post will be my third, and even though I'm new to this, it has been really cool reading members' comments and reactions. What is unique about this story is I did nothing to involve myself. It was sheer randomness, and little did I know the situation that had unfolded before me. I'm really nervous to read this. It was New Year's Eve a few years back, and my friends and I got tickets to some ballroom event in the city. It had a masquerade theme to it, and I will admit I like dressing up. Planning ahead, my friends and I booked some rooms at the hotel where the event was being held. Like many others, we arrived early and started pre-gaming in the room. I remember I bought a bottle of Bacardi Mango and I was mixing it with OJ and a splash of cranberry juice. Sounds a little girly, but it was going down smooth and I was determined to finish the bottle by myself. You are a brave man. I don't know how you did that shit. I used to drink a whole handle of Fireball to myself. I'd always throw up. But not even because I was too drunk. It's just too much cinnamon. I don't really know how that related to you at all, but I hope you didn't throw up. Those days were ugly days, and that wouldn't be the first time I drank an entire bottle to myself. Finishing my last cup and holding the empty bottle in my hand like it was a trophy, I was ready for what the night had in store. I knew I would only be a few floors away from the room, so I wasn't concerned about how drunk I got. The night started off great. My friends and I looked like $1,000,000 and we were partying hard. We each got separate rooms because we were all single and had the hopes of bringing girls back, but the rooms were all connected, so while we were pre-gaming it was like one huge suite. It was around 10:30 p.m. when we decided to go down to the event. I was a bit all over the place, but I was having a great time. I danced with a lot of girls and connected with the right one just before midnight. After our New Year's makeout, LOL, we went our separate ways, and I continued to bounce from one girl to the next, occasionally getting a phone number. I think I got around 3 or 4 by the end of the night, and of course sent out the "hey, come to my room" text to all of them. I know it sounds douchey, but I was so drunk and no one was looking for love that night. Laying in bed staring at my ceiling, I hear a knock on the connecting door. It was my friend Sean. He had also sent out messages and we decided to wait together. About an hour goes by and my head was starting to hurt. My vision was blurry and the spots of dancing around the room when a good song came on were becoming more difficult. Accepting the fact that nothing was going to happen for either of us, we began to get ready for bed. As Sean turned down the music, a loud ring came blaring from my pocket. It had to be past 3 a.m., but excitement coursed through my body. Catching the jealous look from Sean, he yells out, "Answer it." Being a total asshole, I pull out my phone, lay it on my hand, and put it on speakerphone. Hello? There was a girl screaming and crying, "Help me, please help me." Caught in between a smirk and confusion, Sean and I looked up at each other and I replied, "Hello, who is this?" There were loud banging sounds in the background and the girl was seriously crying and screaming at the top of her lungs for help. Confused, all I could do was say, "Hello, who is this? What is wrong? Are you okay?" The phone hung up. Looking at each other, we were both like, what the fuck was that? I immediately call back and it goes to voicemail. There was no setup message. I call back again and this time the line opens up. As if to hit play on a CD, the screaming was still going on. "Hello, who is this? Where are you? What's wrong?" The girl was screaming, "Please help me." Oh my god, she was crying, "Please help me." Oh my god, wait, I'm really nervous for this. All the while there were banging sounds in the background, then the phone hung up again. Sean asks, "Dude, who is that?" I tried calling back like 10 times and it just went to voicemail. I checked to see if it was one of the girls I had texted and none of the numbers matched. I called the police and told them what happened and gave them the phone number. My nerves calmed down, half convincingly thinking that it was definitely a prank. Waking up the next morning, the hangover was all that was on my mind, and it wasn't until Sean brought it up that I even remembered. I quickly pulled up the phone and called the number again and it was straight to voicemail. I left a message saying she called me and if she was okay. Fast forward legit a year, I get a text message. It was that girl. She said she was meaning to text me but she never got around to it. Honestly, actually that's probably something I would do. I was gonna say, how do you forget to text someone for a year, but can relate. I'll start by saying neither of us know each other and we're unsure how she even got my number. She thought she was calling a friend the entire time. She said she threw a party at a hotel not far from where I was staying and everyone left and a guy came back. She said he attacked her and beat her up pretty bad. Amidst being strangled, she somehow got away and into the bathroom. He was forcefully trying to get in. That was the banging I heard. She said she was out of it and just hitting any contact in her phone looking for help. Eventually, someone in the hotel heard and the police were called and the guy was arrested. She thanked me for my concern and we planned on meeting up one day, but it never happened. Crazy how easy it is to think things like that are fake. I'm glad she's okay, but man, what a fucked up night. What a fucked up story. Oh my god, wait, that is actually terrifying. I just feel like, even if it was a prank, like who pulls that kind of prank? Like I feel like that's way too far. I don't know if I would ever believe that shit was a prank. And now I'm nervous that something's gonna happen. I always get nervous that when I read these stories, these things are just gonna happen to me even though it's like no chance that it will. But okay, I feel like this is going by really fast. We're gonna see how long this next story is, but honestly we might read another one because it's only been like 17 minutes of me recording, and that's not normal. I usually record for like 40. Maybe I'm just becoming a professional reader. Maybe I'm just really good at my job now because apparently this is my job. I actually don't even know if I told you guys. I think I mentioned it again in another video from last week, but like towards the end of the video, that I actually quit my editing job, so now I'm just doing YouTube and Twitch full time. So you guys get me a lot. I mean, I think that's obvious. That's why I'm doing so much. You probably knew that. Okay, this last story is called We Were Stalked and Stopped by a Fake Cop. So this happened about 6 years ago. My best friend and I moved a couple towns over, and with our busy work schedules, we couldn't hang out as much. We made a habit of getting together at least once a week and going on a hike just to shoot the shit and catch up. I love that saying, shoot the shit. So that day rolls around and we decided to go to a trail in a neighboring town. This town was considered a very wealthy area and therefore very safe. This is important because it's the main reason why our guard was low and probably why we didn't see the apparent red flags of the situation. In order to get to the trail, you had to drive through a park entrance. There was only one way in or out. As you drive through the entrance, there's a parking lot on the right side. You keep driving and there's a baseball field to the left, and about 100 yards further there's another small parking lot, which is where we parked. From the parked car to the start of the trail was about a 50-yard walk. There were a couple cars parked there, and it was probably around 5 p.m. It was summertime, so we weren't worried about it getting dark anytime soon. But of course, we lost track of time and decided to head back once we noticed it had gotten pretty dark. I just want to note that nothing had felt strange during this hike. I never felt uneasy or felt like I was being watched or anything like that, even as we were hiking in the woods in complete darkness. We finally made it to the entrance of the trail, and I look over to see my friend's car is the only one left in the entire lot. We start making our way towards the car, and I hear very light rustling near some trees a couple feet to the left of us. My friends and I were mid-conversation, and I knew he hadn't heard it because he kept talking, but I kept looking over my shoulder as we got further from the trees. We were still about halfway to the car, and I saw a silhouette hide quickly behind a tree. At this point, I looked at my friend, who was still unaware that I'd heard and just seen something, and said in the calmest voice possible, "Hey man, don't freak out, but someone's in that bush over there looking at us. Let's run to the car on 3. Believe me, I was scared shitless, but I didn't want whoever that was to realize that we were aware that they were there. As I counted 3, our walks turned into a power walk and then to a full-on sprint when this thing's, oh my god, this thing, I can't. Oh my god, I can't. As I counted 3, our walks turned into a power walk and then to a full-on sprint when this thing comes out from behind the tree and I hear footsteps of someone running right at us. To this day, I don't know why we stopped running and turned around to face this stranger, but this man dressed in all black clothes pulled out a flashlight and points it at our faces. He comes closer very cautiously as if we were going to do something to him, and when he's about arm's length away, he tells us he's a cop. First red flag was the hiding in the bushes part, watching us for I don't even know how long. The second red flag was the fact that not once did he ever announce himself as a cop until he got really close. At this point, we were right next to my friend's car in an empty parking lot. Not a single police car or any other car was in sight. Not only that, but this guy was wearing a black vest and black sandals and had no type of badge or anything that would indicate he was a police officer. He pulls out a small notepad and asks for our names, which we give to him. I know how stupid that was, believe me. But at this point, I don't know if we're being fucked with by some random guy or if this is an actual cop, because then he tells us to step away from the car and that he's gonna check it for drugs. We let him search the car. My friend smokes cigarettes and the guy made a big deal about the butts in the ashtray. Me and my friend were sitting on the curb waiting for this guy to finish searching. Not gonna lie, at this point it seems like a big joke and we almost want to laugh in this guy's face. It went from being creepy as all hell to feeling annoyed that my time was being wasted. Anyway, this guy gets out of the car and I take off my shoe to get a couple pebbles out of it from the hike earlier, and the maniac rushes to me with his flashlight and says, "Why are you doing that? What's in your shoe?" I stand up immediately with my shoe in my hand and tell him to relax, they're just pebbles. Now what he did next made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I'm getting chills just playing it in my mind as I write this. Oh, I'm nervous. To recap, this guy was wearing a black shirt with a black vest with black slacks and black shoes and nothing else. No badge, no gun, no walkie-talkie or radio. He turns around very quickly away from me, takes a couple steps, and pretends to call for backup on the radio that cops have attached to their collars. He literally saw this man turn around and go, "Hey, backup." I'd be like, I can see that you're not speaking into anything. Me and my friend exchange looks and we're both thinking we need to get the hell out of there. He insists that he called a canine unit to come and sniff out the car for drugs. At this point, we were arguing with the guy, telling him how he's wasting everyone's time and everything is so unnecessary. My friend lights a cigarette and we sit there for what felt like 20 minutes just looking at each other. Of course, the K9 unit never shows up. The man walks a few feet further away from us and again pretends to be on the radio with someone. He comes back and tells us that the other officers are busy and that we can leave. In my head, I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? This is the most bizarre situation I have ever been in. We slowly get into the car and I never take my eyes off of this guy until we pull out and drive away. He just stood there in the empty parking lot looking at his notepad. Not a single car in sight. On our way out, we scanned the other lot in that park. Not a single car in sight. By the end of it all, me and my friend were more annoyed about the whole situation than creeped out. But we always thought, what if we weren't the only people that were stopped? Maybe he sized us up and realized he couldn't take both of us, so he played the role so he wouldn't give himself away. We also thought that maybe he was a rookie cop on a crappy night shift park patrol, but it was just way too bizarre for it to be true. But anyways, creepy ass fake cop from the hiking trail, let's not meet again. So many people were commenting too, and they were like, even if he was a real cop, like, you need to know your rights. Like, nothing he did was okay. Which, I mean, I studied a little bit of like criminal law when I was in college for like the 2 years I was in college, but I learned a lot of criminal shit. So I know that pretty much everything he did was not okay. Not legal at all. That one took me like 10 minutes to read, but I can't tell if it's just because I messed up a lot or if it was because it's a long story. So I think we're gonna read one more. Just, you know, keep the videos longer because I don't know when to stop. This one's kind of medium length and it has an interesting title, so I feel like this will be a good way to end the video. But this one's called Hoodie Man with a Gun. I mean, I guess it's not a great title, but it's an interesting title. Caught my attention. I go to a school that has an extremely safe campus. It's gated around completely with security guards at every entrance, so as long as you're within the gates, you're completely safe. However, the city the college is located in is not safe at all. I saw someone OD on heroin in the chip section at the grocery store, and then days later at the same grocery store, saw police around a car, and it turns out the guy got shot and came there for help. This was last summer. I was taking summer classes, and there was hardly anyone on campus. During summer, they only have the main gate open, and they shut the gates around all of the other entrances. I had just gotten my puppy, and since he was not potty trained yet, I had to take him out super late so I could sleep in a little. I'm walking him, and there's no one else in sight, only a security car riding around the campus. I walked all the way to the other side of campus, and I was crossing the road that led to the gate on the opposite side from the main gate. As I'm walking across, I noticed my puppy look at the gate and bark, super high-pitched, non-threatening as he was only 9 weeks. So I look over at the gate and he starts growling, but he was so young, I was thinking maybe he was just learning how to. I don't know, dumb, but I felt super safe, so I thought there was no explanation. Looking away, I keep going. That was when my puppy started really barking, and annoyed, I looked over again, and that's when I saw him. I was able to see him pretty well as the campus is very well lit, and I was only about 100 feet from him. He had on baggy jeans, a white t-shirt tank top, I couldn't really tell, and a black zip-up hoodie. I froze. I don't know why. I should have run. There was no way that he could have gotten on campus. But for some reason, I don't move. He yells at me, how do I open this gate? And I yell back, you have to go through the main gate and get in through security. And then he says, isn't there a way without going through security? Annoyed, I said, no, I told you you have to go to the main gate. I actually did have access to it. He then said, are you sure about that? And pulled up his hoodie to show a gun in his waistband. I fucking booked it. I ran into the neighborhood, small like a campus one, behind a row of brick houses. I'm shaking at this point. I never bring my phone with me when I'm walking my dog on campus. I do now. But I was on the phone with my boyfriend earlier in the walk, so I had it. I quickly call campus security, and literally 30 seconds later, 3 security guards pull up to come over to me and ask me if I'm okay and what happened. I said I was just scared. They offered to have security walk me back to my dorm, but I said no. I just really wanted to talk to my boyfriend. He left right after I ran into the neighborhood, I guess, or quickly after because security wasn't able to find him. They kept a close eye on things for a while. They never were strict on registering guests coming, even siblings coming, but they soon became strict with it. They would ask for everyone's school ID every time we went in and out of the gates. Everyone thought it was annoying as fuck, but I was really thankful that my school took it so seriously. They never found out who it was, and he never came back. He, unfortunately, was in a blind spot on the security camera, so they couldn't even get it from that, and I wasn't close enough to be able to give details about his face. Thank you to my school for being safe, and Hoodie Dude, let's not meet ever again. Oh my god, I actually can't even imagine. I feel like if I saw that he had a gun, I just immediately wouldn't know what to do. Like, I don't think I'd be able to run away. I think I'd just be too scared. I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and honestly, if you guys have stories like this, I meant to grab my phone. If you have any stories like this, please send them to me. You can send them to my scary story email. I tell you guys all the time, they don't have to be paranormal stories that you send me. They can just be like scary or creepy or weird or just bizarre stories. I'm honestly down to read anything at this point. I just really like all this shit. I don't know. I like hearing other people's experiences. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. I don't know. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. I'm sweating, honestly. My hair is so ginormous because of what I had to do to it. This is insane. I should not be allowed to look like this. Follow me on Twitch. See ya.